Man, Mercury, right? Now, how does Mercury affect you personally in the way you think and with your actions, right? Now, I'm going to show you basically a cheat code on how, depending on your Mercury sign, on how to get around Mercury retrograde, what to do and what not to do for each Mercury sign. Now, you're going to have to know your chart to know this. You're going to need your Mercury sign, right? Your Mercury sign is, Mercury is the planet of thinking, communication, intellect, the nervous system. So whatever your Mercury sign is, you relate those traits with that. So prime example right now, Mercury in Aries. You're gonna start off with Mercury in Aries. Now, when Mercury goes into Aries, when Mercury goes retrograde, right, and you have a Mercury in Aries, your communication is gonna be slowed down. Mercury in Aries people, like, once this starts, you're gonna feel like everything is slowed down. You're going to only be able to analyze past things that happen with certain people, with relationships in your life. You're going to have to slow down and really think about those things. You might be apologizing a lot at this time. You might be realizing a lot of things about your friends and family at this time. You're thinking before you're doing now. So it's like, to me, it helps because it slows y'all down. A lot of Aries and Mercury people don't really think before they do. They just do. And that's not always bad, because sometimes when you do before you think, sometimes you think too long and don't do enough. But if you do before you think, it can go either way. And usually, depending on what the situation is, it can go really bad if you do something without, that's with a lot of things, such as assuming things, stuff like that. So, and you got to watch out for you only trying to talk about, you might be only talking about yourself in certain situations. So you might be very selfish at this time. And you're already a sign of action. Everybody knows Aries can get shit done. So don't try to prove nothing to nobody, right? During retrograde, this is where you take your time, Aries, Mercury. You take your time and you chill out. You think about things. People come back into your life. You slowly think. Don't get mad about the emotions you might have or something that might have happened in the past that comes back. Slowly think, because this could be a revisiting time to fix things, So just take your time with that. So now, Mercury in Taurus, right? Mercury in Taurus. If you have a Taurus Mercury, it's going to make you want to do whatever you're comfortable with before you do anything. And we know the sign of Taurus, and Taurus is about comfortability. It's about luxury. So, a Mercury in Taurus person, they're going to do something they're comfortable with first before they even do what they're supposed or what they want to do. So, if you like to eat snacks all of the time, if you're a Taurus, right? If you want to eat snacks and you like food a lot, now say if you have a paper due and it's Mercury retrograde, right? Or you're in college and you got an assignment due. You might eat before you do this, and this could be with anything. This could be with sex. You have a Mercury and Taurus person that cares about sex a lot, and that's something they value, something they luxurize. So if that's the case, you might be having sex before you're supposed to be doing things. Now this happens a lot. You might be having sex before you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what helps them emotionally and comforts them. And it helps Taurus. You just gotta watch out. It's easy for you to communicate because Taurus is already not a slow, but it's Taurus is an earth sign. Earth isn't fast, so it's a slow, loving, not quiet, but they just a very, comfort type sign. So it's easy for you to communicate during this time because they don't really like to communicate much. Taurus is a very closed in, easier for you to communicate. You might look at past mistakes you did with your money or values and actually try to fix these things, And I know a lot of Tauruses and Taurus Mercuries, you might have bad spending habits, debts. It's time to revisit those and look over them, and think about what can I do to either let this debt not happen again or to do the opposite of this and save my money. Taurus should learn, a lot of Tauruses need to learn how to save their money. They don't really learn how to save. They learn that through life, learn how to save your money. The earlier you master that as a Taurus, the quicker and the farther you'll be in life. So now Mercury and Gemini. Now Mercury and Gemini, right? Gemini is a sign that I love. Now Mercury and Gemini. Mercury is ruled. I say Mercury is ruled. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so it's like it loves to be here. They can use the past and apply it to the now and gain clarity on things. They might look at, oh, why didn't this person like me back then? And you get on social media during retrograde, and you might see that person in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And then you're like, that's why. And you won't even be hurt about it, because when Mercury is there, it helps you think past that so fast, It's like, and then you can use things like your friends or things from the past, like people that come back from the past. You can use that to your advantage with Mercury and Gemini, It's a temporary gift. People love you. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's easier for you to talk to people. You're just the life of the party. during Mercury retrograde. But as quickly as this comes, it goes away, you know? So if you got a Mercury in Gemini, you might really feel support. You might really feel like people will love you during this time. You know, you might feel like everything is going right. I mean, everything will always go right no matter what, as long as you're in the good spirits. But all of that fastness that's coming during this time is going to be taken away. You know, Mercury retrograde only lasts about 3 to 4 weeks, so it's going to be taken away pretty quick in your eyes. But it's a gift, man, and it happens, you know, every 4 times a year. So take advantage of that. So Mercury in Cancer, right? Now, Mercury in Cancer. Now, basically, you start to look at things from the past, such as your emotions and your past relationships, things that hurt you. You're able to communicate your feelings better, you know? Thinking before acting, and you don't come across as aggressive or moody. You don't want to come off as aggressive or moody. You want to think before you act, you know? We know Cancer is a sign of comfortability, home, emotions, your emotions. They care about your emotions, everybody's emotions. If they like you, if they love you, they'll show that. They'll ask you about your feelings. They can tell when you're sad. They'll say something. They'll put it on your face. If they see you sad, they might do something like make you food or something, you know, something to comfort you. So, you know, this is the time for you Mercury and Cancer people, and even Cancer. This is the time for you to look at past relationships, past emotions, things that hurt you, and try to communicate those things better, you know. And when you do that, since you're watching this video, when you think before you act, it'll change the situations that retrograde can cause dramatically. Because we know during retrograde, you either basically get on good terms with somebody, or the person you were on good terms with, it might get shaky, you know? So take advantage of that. Now, Mercury and Leo, right? Now, Mercury and Leo. Looking back at past decisions and at the now, you know, looking back at partners and past things or where you may have went wrong, you know, they have a lot of regrets, because Leos might think that they might realize the self-centered things that they have done, they might see that now in people's actions, you know. So it can be a lot of regret on their side, like you know, they might make a lot of bad decisions during this time. You know, you got to learn how to slow down and think before you act. You know, the sun, you know, is what shines. So you realize during this time that, oh, you know, that sign is in the planet of Mercury, you know, you realize that, oh, I might be a little selfish at this time, or I might have been not selfish, self-centered. That's what I meant. You know, might have been a little self-centered at this time. And this is why this person didn't like me. This is why my ex didn't like me. You know, this is why I broke up with this person. You're realizing things, you know, you want to take your time and think and slow down, you know, and think about things that you have done, the regrets that you have, go fix that, you know. Now, Mercury in Virgo, right? Now, Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, you know, I said Mercury, what the fuck? Mercury with Gemini, right? And this is why, you know, Gemini and Virgo rule Mercury, and Pisces and Sagittarius is rule Jupiter. So you can see how the two planets, one planet is in communication and stuff, and the other planet is wisdom. Jupiter is wisdom, knowledge, abundance. Pisces is ruled by that. Gemini is ruled by the planet of thinking communication, and Virgo is ruled by the planet of thinking communication. So you see the ties in it. So Virgo is ruled by Mercury, but it hurts more than it helps, you know. Because Virgo already thinks about the details of situations and past things, and they already analyze this to the deepest degree. So a person with this in their chart, if this goes, or even if this is retrograde in your chart, it can help you more if it's retrograde in your chart. But Mercury in Virgo, basically, you'll analyze details and nothing will get past you. So this could be a time where you have to watch out for this. If you have a Mercury in Virgo, which, you know, if you ever, make sure you look at your chart. If you're a Virgo, you can have a Mercury in Virgo. You know, because Mercury can only be in your sign, the sign behind it, and the sign after it, you know. So if you have this placement, you have to watch out for things that you might do, like bringing up past situations to beat somebody over the head with it. You might be thinking about something too hard from the past and be like, so now this makes sense, you know? And this can come off as very aggressive and naggish, like, and just like you're picking, you know? And a lot of people think Virgos are like that because Virgos analyze the detail and things about everything. So they might pick on something that you got on and be like, what the fuck you got on? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So watch out for that. Don't be too judgmental during this time. You can think into detail, but don't think into detail to the point where thoughts that's not yours are taking over your head and you're letting that affect you and the person that you're dealing with, you know? So this could be with anything, not only people, but past relationships with, well, that's the same thing, but past like purchases and all of that. Watch out for that, okay? Now, Mercury in Libra, when it goes into retrograde, it affects to where the person wants to look at their one-on-one relationships, right? Now, when I say one-on-one relationships as in people that you have a a close connection with. Libra is, the relationship sign, the balance, that one-on-one connection, So this will make you, like, say if you fell out with somebody a month ago. During this time, you might think about that person and be like, damn, I miss this person. And you might text them, Libra's communication sign is the air sign, So it does pretty good here. You look at your past relationships and you might try to fix those things, where you went wrong, or somebody else might have went wrong. You might want to mend those things, but you also have to be smart about how you mend those things. If it's toxic, you keep it at a distance, If it's not, then you do what you do. But retrograde is the time to fix things, And during this time, don't tell anybody your secrets, because it can, as a Mercury, this is Mercury communication, you're an air sign. This can come out in a way that you wouldn't expect. So if you have a Mercury and Libra, don't tell anybody about, you might be cheating on somebody, because it can come out during the next retrograde. And the way the planets got it set up, ain't no such thing as right or wrong. But if you say something like that, don't blame nobody else for it coming out, other than you put it out into the world, So Mercury and Scorpio, right now, this is going to be pretty quick. This helps a lot. It helps them get out their fixed emotions. They get past certain things in the past. So if they were cheated on, or if somebody did them dirty that damaged their trust, because we know Scorpio is fixed. It's about trust. They're closed off. They're they don't fuck with you. If they have to fuck with you to fuck with you. A Scorpio will keep you at a friendly distance. They aren't really friendly if they don't really know you. You know what I'm saying? So this will help them get past out of their fixed emotions. They'll be more friendly, more forgivable, more lovable around this time, more social around this time. So this is a good placement. Now, Mercury and Sagittarius, right? Now, Mercury and Sag. Now, this is where, since it's, Sagittarius is the sign of, broad, education, just a broad view of things, right? So this will help them look at past situations and see the broad like aspect of things, the broad perspective. Put themselves in your shoes, because we all know, a lot of people know that Sagittarius suck at putting someone else's emotions first, or somebody, not in that way, but they suck at putting themselves in somebody else's shoes, And during this time, it'll help y'all see that more. So this could be a time where you might have went ham on somebody, what y'all call blunt. You might have bluntly went off on somebody for something they didn't really deserve, and you might be more I should go back I should, remend this relationship, fix this up, and a Sagittarius will actually reach out and do that. As much as they talk about they wouldn't, they actually will reach out and do that. They're very good-hearted people, They're actually very humble despite how they come off. So Mercury and Sagittarius, things like that, don't use the blunt excuse during this time. During retrograde, all that is out the window. Try to be cool, remend the relations that you might have messed up, or someone else might have messed up. You might be more forgivable about the way someone else messed up a past relationship. It's time for you to fix that, or take control of that. Now, Mercury and Capricorn, right? You have to look at all of your past responsibilities in your life and how to know what you should be doing and what you shouldn't. You're wondering, it's like that's what you should be focusing on retrograde. Cutting out the things that don't work for you and keeping the things that do, Now, y'all are really, Capricorn, Mercury's, and just Capricorns are known to pleasure themselves and not think about the consequences. So you have to keep make sure you remember the practical things in your life. Care about those things during this time. You might have money problems, communication problems. You might have relationship problems during this time with the Mercury and Capricorn. So keep this in mind and make sure you stay calm. You look at whatever is toxic in your life, whether that's a person, a thing that you're into, a hobby. It's time to cut that short, because as a Capricorn Mercury, it's gonna affect you to the point where once it's over with, you'll see how it starts destroying you if you don't get it about the way during retrograde. This is the time where, like I said, Mercury is here to help you. It's a celestial body, which means it's alive. Celestial that's a being, right? So it's here to help you revisit past things. Now, we only have a negative connotation on it because they only speak about the negative connotations on it. But nothing is good or bad. Everything has a good or bad. So that's with everything in life. So Mercury in Aquarius, it helps them put into perspective on how detached they are from other people, So a Mercury in Aquarius, like, Basically, now Mercury in Aquarius is you're analyzing. Now I have this placement, right? So once you have a Mercury in Aquarius, you're analyzing how detached you might come off to people. You're analyzing how people might come off to you. Aquarius is like to communicate, will only communicate with people they're cool with, other than with debates or something. They might get attached from people who just don't understand them. You know, a lot of Mercury and Aquarius aren't really close to their immediate family. They're more close to. They communicate better with the collective, as in people that in general, like the worldly collective, like how you can tell the way I come off, the way I communicate to everybody. It's like even with my videos, I'm talking to you personally, like I actually care for you, and I really do. That's why I make these videos. So this is the time to look back and to make I might me having this placement a lot of the times sometimes my communication is very spotty and off. So this time is where I clean that up. Look at how I'm communicating to people, look how detached I might come off to certain people, look how separated I might come off to people, or people might come off to me, and it's time for me to fix that. How separated I might come, the way of thinking that I have from life, and to learn how to detach and reattach. And it's a very good placement to have. Mercury likes to be in Aquarius, so great placements to have. Bringing people together placement. They're introduced friends to friends, and I do this all of the time during retrograde. Like the first day of retrograde, I got on PlayStation and invited all my friends that haven't been in the same game. We haven't been on the same PlayStation party together in like a whole year. But the first day of retrograde, everybody joins. Stuff like that. So that's Mercury in Aquarius. Slow down, think about how detached people might be from each other, you might be from them, and it's time to bring everybody together. So now Mercury and Pisces, right? You're able to detach the emotions and the feelings and able to analyze the situations. Hurts in the aspect of having to look back at the past, and when they are treated, you might look at the way you've been treated, and wonder, why am I being treated this way, or why am I being like, what's like, because Mercury and Pisces, Mercury doesn't like to be here. So it's like cloudy, it's very dreamy. They're wondering all of the things, like they have to understand. And this is the time that gives them clarity, so don't look and you shall find. So if you have a Mercury and Pisces and you are just, wondering what to do with your life, or what's going on with your love life or past situations, and you need clarity, clarity is coming, and it might take a little tears and stuff. And and as a Pisces, you always know the truth. You know what to fix and what not to fix. But do you have the power to do that? So if you have a Mercury and Pisces, do you have the power to change the way you think and move with certain people? It's time to gain power and structure over that. So with that being said, that's all the Mercury signs. Man, this video was long as hell, I ain't gonna lie, but perfectly fine with me, yo. That's all of the Mercury signs. This is how to navigate through Mercury retrograde.